Got with me the captain of the Sri Lankan Tuskers, leading Sri Lanka to a 41-10 loss here today. But it's not all forgotten because it was a game that was expected to be won by Hong Kong with a much bigger margin. And I'm sure Namal is happy that we managed to hold them to this. When they started off, Namal, it looked like they were really going to run away with it, but you held it back.
Well, I mean, as you said, a lot of people were expecting us to lose from 100 points to nil or something, but boys stepped up, they played, they gave their heart out and they gave their 100%. I mean, that's what you expect from rugby players in Sri Lanka.
They really managed to bring their bodies and put them on the line in the breakdown. That's something that you must be proud of.
Well, of course, I mean, especially the front row and the forwards. I mean, we tackled up front, third row did a lot of cover defense, three quarters, hats off, our centers. I mean, their defending was outstanding because if you actually look at the weight of the opposite center, it's somewhere around 100 plus, and my boys were both of them were somewhere around 80 plus. But they played from their heart and they went in up front.
But that's where we lost the game, isn't it, Namal? It was just strength, it was just power, just brute force that they had against us. It wasn't skill, it wasn't anything else. So how do we solve that problem?
Well, I mean, see, we have to go on a long-term plan. That's why we have called for second generation, third generation Sri Lankans to come and play with us, because that will bring in more experience and more weight to the side. As you can, any rugby loving person will know that you need physique to play, and once we have a couple of third generation Sri Lankans playing for us, that will be a very strong side for us.
And is that going to happen in this tournament? A lot of people were expecting some Fijian players to play in this tournament, but will that happen against the Philippines?
Well, we were hoping to have a couple of Fijians and Australians and New Zealanders to play with us on this season, but unfortunately we were very slow on some certain documentation. But I hope the union, the ministry will step up for the Philippines game at least and give those boys the opportunity to play for Sri Lanka, because last 30 years no one wanted to come to Sri Lanka and play because of the entire terrorism and all those stories. But now we are glad they are willing to come back to their homeland where their ancestors were living, and to give up their original passport wherever they live in UK, America, Canada or London, and take the Sri Lankan passport and be part of us.
And looking ahead to Japan and to the Philippines, any changes in personnel, and what do you expect from those two games?
Well, I mean, Japan game, of course, our main target is to keep a very low scoring, and for youngsters to get more experience, because if you actually look at the boys who play overseas, like Fazil, myself, my brother Yoshita, and even Luke, they stepped up when it was needed. So that means we need more experience to our backline and also for the front row. So Japan game, of course, we're looking at gaining more experience and build it up to the Philippines game. As I always believe, my task was to get a young side and develop it for 2019 World Cup and hand it over. So working on that.
Well, Ranjan scored and he's one of the youngest players in the team, so things are looking good, Namal. So thanks very much for talking to us. Congratulations on today's performance and all the best for the next two games.
Thank you very much.